Hello and welcome back to the Lobo Designs channel. My name is Heather Lynn. I'm the owner of Lobo Designs, and I'm here today with an Adobe Illustrator tutorial to show you my top 10 favorite hotkeys and quick shortcuts in Adobe Illustrator for time-saving purposes. This is going to be one of my favorites because I get to show you all of the things I love about using hotkeys. So let's get started. These are in no particular order, but we are going to start with number one, which is using the zoom function. So you can zoom in and out on your artboard by holding down Option or Alt on your keyboard and scrolling with your mouse. So you can zoom in and out as much as you want. You can also scroll up and down with your mouse, hanging over the artboard and holding down Option. You can control your zoom by simply holding down Option or Alt and scrolling in and out on your artboard. The other way to control your zoom is down here at the bottom. You can change this by manually entering the percentage, or there's a drop-down menu that you can change it to if you want to. But again, my favorite is the shortcut. Hold down Option or Alt and scroll with your mouse. Favorite hotkey number two, using the spacebar to span your document. So if you have something that's, say, I'm going to draw a circle over here, I'm going to draw a circle up here, and say you want to focus on these circles. So if I wanted to look up here, I could either scroll up and over, or I can hold down space and I can grab this and I can bring it over to the middle, and then I can use Option to zoom in. I'm going to show you that again. So if I have something down here at the bottom, I can hold down the space bar, grab it, and bring it over here. Using that is so much easier than scrolling around your artboard like this. It's way easier to hold down space, grab this, and bring it center. Number three is the lock and unlock feature. So this doesn't come into play a lot when you're designing, but since I don't often use layers, I love using lock and unlock. So if I am creating something, let's say I have a circle on my artboard, I'm going to change this to stroke, and say I have a whole bunch of other things inside of this circle that I want to be working on, but I want to make sure that I don't touch this outside circle. So you see how if I wanted to, let's just make a couple of these so I can show you what I mean. So see if I wanted to work on, let's just say only these 5 circles in the middle. I could select all and then I could hold down Shift to deselect this outside circle. But every now and then if you click, you might, whoops, drag this circle to the wrong spot. And if it's not something that you're looking to do, you can lock this object without worrying about putting it on its own layer or putting it on its own locked layer. You can just lock the object by hitting Command 2 or Control 2 on your keyboard. Now you can't actually hit this object at all, and by clicking and dragging the whole thing, you're only selecting the objects inside of the shape. You can move them around. And then to unlock, you do Command, Option, and 2, or Control Alt 2 if you're on Windows. So again, Command or Control 2 will lock it, and Command Option 2 or Control Alt 2 will unlock it. Moving on to number 4, working in outline mode. So what I'm going to do is show you a few shapes. Again, I'm going to set all of these to no stroke, no fill, so you can see what I mean by outline mode. This is great for laser designers. So right now it looks like this is a blank artboard. It looks like you can start working on it. Nothing would be in your way. You could export it as an SVG, cut it on your laser, and you'd have no problems. Except that's wrong, because right now there are 3 shapes on this artboard that will be exported as part of your SVG and will 100% cut on your laser, and you'll only see them by looking at outline mode. So you can go into outline mode by going up into the view menu, clicking outline, or you can do Command Y or Control Y on your keyboard, which is one of my favorite hotkeys. So again, Command Y will show you outline mode, and there are those shapes that we do not see when we're in preview mode, unless we have them highlighted. So that's always a great thing to check if you're a laser designer or if you're creating SVGs. You don't want any rogue paths floating out there, so don't forget to check outline mode. Next, switching between stroke and fill. So right now, again, those shapes are out there on my artboard, but we don't have any stroke assigned to them. So let me start by showing you one of my favorite hotkeys, which is number 5, adding the stroke and the fill. So if I select this shape right now, it has no stroke, no fill. If I hit Command / or Control /, it will add a fill. If I selected the other object and do Command Option / or Control-Alt/, if you're on Windows, it will add a stroke. And then you can also do both if you'd like. I don't know why you would want both for laser design, but if you wanted it to have a stroke and a fill, you could do Command-Option/, and you could do Command/, or Control-Alt/, and Control/. Now that moves us on to number 6, which is switching between stroke and fill. So say that you created this circle on your artboard and it automatically defaulted to a black filled circle, but you wanted a black stroke circle with no fill. You can easily switch that by hitting Shift X on your keyboard. Shift X will switch it between stroke and fill. The other tool that you can use is over here, this little arrow swaps between fill and stroke. But since we're talking about hotkeys, we want to make sure that we're talking about the hotkey, which is Shift X, that will switch everything from stroke to fill or from fill to stroke. Next on the list is the repeat function. So I'm going to create a circle on my artboard, and then I'm going to make a copy of that circle by selecting it and holding down Option Shift, clicking and dragging. Now, the repeat function is awesome in Adobe Illustrator because now that I've done that once, I can do that over and over and over again. So I can do Command D or Control D and go straight across the artboard. What's neat about this is, let's move this over just a little bit. I can now take this entire set, Option Shift, and click down, and now I can Command D, Command D, Command D, and make an entire set of circles that I can use for keychains or cutouts or a jig if that's what you're using it for. But the repeat function is awesome. Again, create your object, make a copy of the object, and then Command D or Control D to repeat. And the repeat works for pretty much everything. So say you have this circle on your artboard. I'm gonna make 2 circles, same exact thing. I'm going to take this one and I'm going to change it from 3.1222 to 4 inches. Now I can go over to this one and I can do Command D and it'll change the same thing. So the repeat function works for a lot of the functions within Adobe Illustrator, not just copying and pasting. On to the next, copying and pasting in front. So what I do a lot in my designs is I will grab an object and I will want a specific copy of that object in front of it. So let's get rid of this one circle. I'm going to take this circle and I'm going to do Command C and Command F as in front. Now I have 2 exact copies of this circle, and I can take that top copy and hold down Option Shift and size it down and then do a knockout if I want to. So the paste in front option is wonderful if you want to make an exact copy of the object that you have on your artboard directly on top of it. It does not work like copy and paste. So if I were to have a rectangle on this artboard, let's give it a fill so we can see it. If I were to make a copy of this, so Command C for copy, Command F will put it right where it is, okay? That's an extra copy. If I were to take this and make a copy, Command C and do Command V, watch where it goes. Over here. Not in the same spot, which is not always bad. If you only need a second copy, it doesn't matter if it's directly on top. But if you were making a design where that box needs to stay exactly in place, using paste in front is the best option. Paste in place works well too, but sometimes if the object is already in the back and you paste in place, it'll be arranged wrong when you want to do a knockout or something like that. So I use paste in front all of the time just to make sure that it's always the top object on my artboard. Next up, editing brush sizes and eraser sizes. So if you are using the brush tool, which is B on your keyboard, you'll see, I'm going to zoom all the way in here. See the size of this brush, how it's a circle around. Can you see the circle here? So if you're drawing a line and you want that line to be thicker, you can thicken your paintbrush by using the brackets on your keyboard, the open and close brackets just above your return key or your enter key to change the size of your paintbrush. So if you use the close bracket, you can make your paintbrush bigger. And then if you use the open bracket, you can make your paintbrush much smaller. And the same works for the eraser tool. So if you're using the eraser tool, Shift E, this is a thicker one, so we can use the brackets to shrink it down. So if you want to erase a line through here, erase a line through here, or you can make it really thick and wipe a line through there. And the reason that you're seeing such a thick line on these is because the stroke that's applied and how zoomed in I am. So right now, that's only a 1-point stroke, so if I zoom out, it's not that bad. But if you want to shrink this down, you can always over here change your stroke down to 0.25, and then you'll see the true thickness of that stroke. But again, paintbrush is B on your keyboard, B as in brush, and you can draw a line thicker or thinner or super bold. And you can erase with the Shift E eraser and change the size the same way. Again, they are the brackets, the open and closed brackets to the left of your backslash key, which is right above your enter key. And they're not the curvy ones, they're the straight ones. I hope that helps. And last but not least, showing and hiding artboards. So I'm going to zoom out on here. We can see that the artboard is followed around here. It is a 12 by 20 artboard, which is what I usually work on when I am doing laser designs because that is the size of the sheet that I use. So I am currently showing my artboard, but as you may have seen in my other tutorials, sometimes I don't need those artboards, so I hide them. Command-Shift-H will hide your artboards, H as in Heather, and then you don't have to worry about them being in your view. What you want to be mindful of when you're hiding and showing your artboards is when you're exporting, you want to make sure that you do show your artboard, because if you don't see your artboard and for some reason one of your objects is placed outside of it, it won't be included in your file or it may be cut in half. And that concludes my top 10 favorite hotkeys in Adobe Illustrator. We talked about zooming in and out, using the spacebar to span the screen, locking and unlocking objects on your artboard, viewing outline mode to make sure that there are no rogue paths for laser cutting. We went through adding a stroke and a fill to objects. We went through switching stroke to fill and fill to stroke, the repeat function, copying and pasting in front, using the brackets to increase and decrease your brush or eraser size, and showing and hiding your artboards. And that concludes this tutorial. As always, feel free to join us in the Glowcreate group on Facebook for additional tips and tricks on how to use Procreate and Adobe Illustrator beyond the screen to turn your digital artwork into physical products. If you enjoyed this video and would like to be notified of future tutorials, please hit the like button and subscribe below. Until next time, this is Heather Lynn of Lobo Designs signing off. I'll holla at you later.